Welcome to our Leadership Dialogue series, Advancing Higher Education in India. We're very excited to have you with us today as we explore the future of higher education in the country. It's a privilege to introduce our esteemed guest, Dr. Ritu Gilhotra, Pro-President of Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Rajasthan, and Prashasti Rastogi, Director at Coursera for Campus. In today's conversation, we'll dive into the significant shifts occurring in higher education, including the implementation of the National Education Policy, that's NEP, the surge of online learning, the value of industry micro credentials, and the impact of generative AI on teaching and learning methodologies. Dr. Gilhotra, let's start with you. What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in education over the past few years? And how do you think these changes have impacted students and institutions?
At first, thank you so much, team of ET and collaborative effort that I can understand with the Coursera for having me on this discussion today. So, to kickstart with a very interesting question that, there's a very major radical transformative changes that we have seen in the last 20 years of the education. You know, way back in 20 years before, the education was a little, over the period of time, 20 years down line, seeing the way the digitalization has, changed the whole face of the education. It has brought a lot of integration of the technology, online resources, digital tools that have been, going very gradually, however, till I can say 2019. But it has shown a major impact during the pandemic and post-pandemic that has, totally transformed the face of the education I believe in. Secondly, the e-learning and the online courses, the way they have, dominated the whole scenario of the education is bringing a lot of changes in both the teaching, learning pedagogies and the way the students are learning and preferring the learning resources. Personalized learning is another concept that was there, I believe, always, but now it is more accessible, more affordable, and is actually impacting the education system. And that is also giving the universities kind of the thought process that how should we be catering to the students into these dimensions also. And we are also figuring out to bring out more changes and more kind of the tools to cater to the students in the personalized learning, flipped classrooms, project-based learning, internships, more of the field work, more of the experiential learning technologies. This has also become a major component. It's not anymore the same theory practical kind of the format that will be working for this. Another very important thing that has happened is because 20 years before, the more emphasis was on the STEM, but now the way the humanities and arts have, emerged into the system and the way the interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary concepts integrating more of the humanities subjects and more interest and inclination of the students toward it, even that of the science technology students, integrating these things together and coming up with a very diverse and new ideas, which we are also, thinking of. And every new university and upcoming advancing university is bringing, that kind of the courses that can be more multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary. Those were the things not there conventionally 20 years back, I believe. Then, if we see the assessment procedures, so the assessment was used to be also very conventional, very closely, very rigid kind of. There was little flexibility at that time, but now we are in a way giving all the things more into the. These things have totally, changed the whole scenario. Apart from that, I believe that 20 years before there were little accessibility. Say, for example, you want to do few particular courses, you needed to mobilize more, you need to go to some other cities and many other things. So now the things are very, very accessible and affordable, of course, because that saves a lot of traveling and hostel accommodations and many such kind of things. So it has really become very, very accessible and affordable the way it was way before. So if we look at it, the kind of, because we need to understand it is maybe happening everywhere in the world, but in India by 2030 we are going to be the country with the maximum population of the. So this time and this change, this transformation is very, very important to be reviewed by the university and the higher education who are catering to the young students, that how do we make the young India that is going to take up by 2030. And the major responsibility lies on the way we are teaching our educational policies, our educational methodology, the way we are, giving services to the students. So,
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us a glimpse of the trends that you're implementing, that you're witnessing. It's absolutely true that the pandemic accelerated online learning. And it was also great to hear about the changing methodologies or assessment as well. Now, Prashasti, building on what Dr. Gilhotra mentioned about the evolving educational landscape, what are some of the trends that you are seeing?
Thanks, Shilpa. I mean, I completely resonate with Dr. Ritu. I mean, she's an accomplished educationist and a accomplished scientist as well. And the focus on quality enhancement and student success at her institution is something that I could reflect upon when she was sharing her thoughts. Um, we actually feel that higher education is constantly evolving to meet the demands of a dynamic job market. There's rapid rise in automation, which is going to impact about two-thirds of future jobs. And when jobs are impacted, the skill set changes. So there are going to be newer and newer skills that are required in a fresh graduate to be able to claim those jobs. And to help students thrive in their future careers, many institutions are turning to online learning to integrate these critical skills into their curricula. Um, the government policies such as India's new national education policy NEP 2020 are helping drive this shift towards multidisciplinary curricula. And there are constant challenges in updating this curriculum, getting a faculty buy-in, managing change. And these institutions are able to smoothly do this by leaning on to various resources that have been made available as per the regulatory framework of the country. So the three major trends that we are seeing is there's there's a huge transformation, digital transformation coming in education through Gen AI. Then there is skill-based learning, which is gaining more and more traction as part of the for-credit learning that happens within the curriculums of the universities. And the third very important change has been industry academia relationships to make sure that students are job ready, and how can we collaborate with the industry to bring career readiness in this VUCA world to our students. So that's my take, Shilpa.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Prashasti. It's been very comprehensive indeed. Now, delving a little more into how the National Education Policy NEP envisions it. The policy has introduced transformative changes such as multidisciplinary education, flexible learning paths, and updated assessment methods. Dr. Gilhotra, how do you foresee these reforms shaping higher education and what opportunities do they present?
As I just shared that, the 20 years trajectory, how I feel the education phase has changed. There were so many things that were happening, as I said before pandemic, but they were on a very small, little pace, and they were like very objective kind of things that if you want to pick, you pick, or there was not more, you can say, enforcement about many things. But I believe that there are two major things that have happened in the last 5 years. That is, one is post-pandemic, the kind of the digitalization has become so important, compulsory part of the education. And the moment we were coming out of that impact, and we were adopting these all online tools and the new kind of the, you can say, teaching methodology. Another thing that came up was the NEP, of course, in 2020, which was at that time was in a very nascent, you can say, stage, and because the universities were coming out of the pandemic impact, and they were to still, adopt to that. And now, in the time has, totally right when all the universities and all the framework is now compulsorily, shifting to NE. So these both the things together, and we will be seeing more changes. We will be seeing the actual impact in the by 2030, maybe, as I was just referring to, that we should be having a target toward 2030, that how we are shaping up the education and the impacts will be more visible by 2030. So the major changes, as you yourself said, that it has become more like the most important change that I feel from NEP is that kind of the flexibility, that entry and exit point it has given. Secondly, not only the professional courses, but also the way they have extended the undergraduate humanity courses to uh, 3+1, that is 4-year program. And they've given this kind of the portal to exit at every year. So this has given a lot of flexibility. It has given a lot of opportunity and freedom to the learners, and yet at the same time it has given a challenge to the university to actually make all the exit points like diploma, certificate, or they're saying degree or the honors, whatever the 4 exit points they have made, that how we are going to make them really qualitative, so that it caters to whatever stage the student exits. And of course it has given them an opportunity to come back again. The entry points are again there. And also there is this interdisciplinary approach in the NEP, which we have been actually doing through the choice-based system before also, but now it has become more the specialization, the way we are also offering the major, minor in so many courses, which has given the students an opportunity to explore themselves into so many areas. And of course, because the markets are changing, the job demands are changing, and now these kind of the flexibilities will be helping the students to become more employable. They will be actually looking for developing their own capacities and their own skill sets. They are more able to develop to that. That's a really welcome thing. But yes, at the same time, I very deeply feel that the same kind of the training must be percolated to the all the levels of the higher education, be it admin, be it the academic, be the students and the parents, of course, because they are also a little confused about who is adopting, who is not adopting, and the way to go for it. Secondly, the another very important thing that has happened is the undergraduate students with the honors going for the direct PhD thing. So this is a great opportunity. At the same time, it's bringing us a challenge that how we are going to again, maintain that kind of the quality in the research. And for that, we also have to come up with many good reforms in our systems and everything. Apart from that, the Indian knowledge system that we are integrating through the NAP, like we are promoting our own language, our art, culture, that is also going to be a very wonderful thing that's going to actually help the student to holistically develop themselves. Apart from that, the NAP is also promoting the top 100 universities to come up and set up their you can say the universities into the India. That is also going to make the system very competitive. It's going to actually push everyone to excel more in their services and everything. So another thing is, as I already discussed, that the continuous and comprehensive evaluation that comes out with the NAP trend is also giving to the student a little more things to learn and be a little on the stress-free kind of the, you can say, environment. It's also a very welcome thing on the part of the NEP. And the multidisciplinary approach that is also going to wonderfully help. So now the challenge is to understand the essence and to implement it in the proper way. The whatever is the spirit of the NAP should be followed in principle by all the universities and higher education institutes. And I believe if it will be understood well by all the administrative levels, it is going to actually yield wonderfully and is going to cater to the needs of the youth in the years to come.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you for highlighting the flexibility and the holistic development angle that the NEP has now introduced. Prashasti, many universities are now incorporating global online content to better align education with industry needs. How is Coursera enabling universities to create a curriculum that is flexible and prepares students for real world careers?
Yeah, I was listening to Dr. Ritu quite intently, and I noticed she talked about multidisciplinary learning. She talked about opportunities for students to take flexible credits, an opportunity for honors and minors. But at the same time, she qualified that how to ensure that the quality of learning and the learning outcomes are verifiable, measured, and the quality is maintained. I mean, that's what we hear with campuses around the globe that Coursera partners with. And you know, there are some common challenges that resonate across the globe, right? India is set to become a $5 trillion economy, and we are saying $1 trillion have to come from manufacturing, $3 trillion have to come for services from services sector, and these ambitious goals for the country need to be met through qualified workforce, and that qualified workforce is coming out of the institutions. It poses a huge responsibility on institutions to make sure that all the emerging topics that students demand are covered. Students should understand technology and be ethical users for it. But at the same time, do they have the resources to develop content at that scale and speed? Are they able to innovate as fast as the industry is changing? They are constantly chasing that time to market by saying, okay, the student is joining in this year but has to be employable 3 years later. So, how to make sure that graduates are employable and job ready? All these problem statements come to us as a great partnership resource. Campuses can drive key outcomes by integrating digital content into their for-credit offerings. And Coursera partners with multiple universities for preparing students for the needs of the changing workforce and strengthening the institution's competitive landscape as well. There are 4 areas in which majorly we have seen our collaboration make impact. One is strengthening academic excellence by integrating industry ready courses into the curriculum. Second is how to boost employability outcomes by bringing industry job aligned learning, industry certified job aligned learning back to the curriculum. Coursera has developed about 130 industry micro credentials, partnering with 75 plus top companies of the world to make sure that role based learning goes back into the graduation curriculums. Third piece is how to constantly improve institutional ranking and reputation by making sure that the faculty is upskilled and the student outcomes are constantly industry aligned. So, by building faculty development programs and giving the tools to the faculty to create digital content and be able to digitally teach, we are able to influence that. And at the end of the day, institutions are running businesses, so they need to keep increasing enrollment and revenue. So, how do we make sure that institutions are able to partner with us to launch new programs, launch more industry aligned programs at a lower cost and at a faster speed? So, these are broad areas in which we are able to successfully partner with campuses around the globe and in India.
That's great to hear, Prashasti, how you are equipping students and making them job ready for a very tough market out there. Now, looking ahead, what do you envision the future university will look like? How do you think technology, especially generative AI, will influence the future of higher education in terms of making learning more personalized, engaging, and scalable? I'd love to pose this question to both of our panelists today. Can I start off with you, Dr. Gilhotra, please?
So while I was listening to Prashasti, and we have been very closely working with Coursera. We had an MOU later, and many of our faculties took up the courses that Coursera was actually offering. And I must appreciate the efforts of not only Coursera but all the MOOCs platform that is working right now, and the way they have actually inspired the classroom teachers also. to improvise on themselves. And all these forces together, all these kind of the platforms that have come up, a lot of the mobile teaching, we can say, that is actually happening today. And lots of gamification, simulations, and many kind of the technologies have actually pushed the present universities to brainstorm and to actually see that how the learning patterns have drastically, radically changed for the students, and how the today's student is actually expecting the things to be. And you very well, asked about the future university, because the times have changed, the mindsets have changed so drastically, and of course the AI intervention has, made everything so handy, so accessible to the students, and is impacting the not only the material formation but also the deliveries and the learning patterns and so many things. So universities have to actually ponder very seriously that how we are going to go ahead as the future universities, and the parameters impacts and the factors which are impacting have already in a kind of discussed. And there is a scope for the private universities to push up the things a little more faster than the other sometimes conventional university, because they have a little longer processes to go for. And of course the NEP has helped us to increase the flexibility and adopt the things as and when we like to, and the way we feel, our academic councils or board of managements, so they feel that how the things need to be revolutionized, and we can pitch in a little faster. And if I see that the future universities are actually going to be very, very personalized, we are going to be, very, very, right now, we are encouraging our students to, take up the courses from NPTEL, SWAYAM, and the credit transfers. We are encouraging, the students are also participating very enthusiastically. And this is how we are bringing the, excellence of many good premium institutions into our own classrooms, and the students are being benefited. And I really like this concept. Then the future universities are going to be very, very collaborative, and they are going to be virtually augmented. Reality will establish the global connections and the project-based learning. That is also going to be part of the future universities, I would say. Then the another thing is going to be in this curriculum, or this changes is because of the NEP and the way the things are being adopted. The students of the future universities are going to be the lifelong learners. They are going to have a better opportunities to impact their own learning and the way they want to plan their own. So also the recent things that has come up with the online ODL learning, distance learning things, that the degrees are being made equivalent to the regular degrees, is also going to impact the future universities a lot, because there will be more choices for the students to go for being a regular learner or being the online ODL or distance learners, whatever they can choose to be. And then this is going to be a lot of data driven future universities, I will say, because there is so much intervention of the analytics nowadays. So we are coming up with the new courses, we are coming up with the new you can say services, which is all the way collected from the feedbacks and the kind of the interests that are being generated on all over the social platforms, you can say, or the emotion of the society at a large, and the needs of the society at large. So everything is going to be very, very open, flexible, and in the end giving delivery to the stakeholders, which is going to be very, very important, and their satisfaction and feedback is also going to be very important. This is what I believe in, and that is where, like, Suresh Gyan Vihar University is also working a lot more on the quality consciousness, and that has helped us to be ranked as a NAC A plus university, and a very highly prestigiously ranked NIRF university. So this is how we are working on the quality, and we are making ourselves future ready as well. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us, ma'am, and also so heartening to hear about how you envision universities will be serving as a personalized bridge between students and the career they will be seeking in the future. Now, Prashasti, it would be great to see how you envision the future of higher education.
Sure. I think Dr. Ritu summarized it very well. The future of learning is going to be multidisciplinary. and it has to be agile, it has to be personalized. She also said it has to be collaborative, and she also said that it has to be flexible, right? I completely resonate with that. And the commitment to continuous improvement at a university in terms of curriculum expansion, faculty development, research, innovation, and also offering personalized and job ready learning is actually taking shape today. And generative AI is playing a big role in making all this possible. We are in the early stages of seeing generative AI being opportunistically deployed in higher education. I'm sure there are some concerns about plagiarisms and there are some concerns about academic integrity, but at the same time, there are solutions from generative AI that are able to overpower a lot of these areas where the future of the university lies. So at Coursera, what we've seen is that AI is disrupting jobs because it's changing the way businesses operate, and generative AI is also changing the skills that are required to do those jobs. But at the same time, in the teaching and learning domain, AI is a huge enabler. We're able to see a lot of machine translations come in, which is making language accessibility possible. At Coursera itself, we launched this year the platform in Hindi language courses. And now Coursera courses can be also accessed for Hindi speakers. We have also heard about simultaneous translation. While person is speaking, there is constant translation that's available. We also build a AI-based coach where students can get personalized learning and career advice at the tip of a button at any given point of time, 24/7. We've also worked on a lot of features to enhance academic integrity, ban plagiarism, create scalable, personalized assessments that can be delivered anytime. We've also strategically embedded world-class expertise into custom courses that the faculty can design according to the way they teach in their region, with globalized perspective but localized direction using Coursera's course builder. These are some of the tools that are already available to the faculty today to enhance personalized learning, develop agile curriculums, and make sure that the future is multidisciplinary and the future continues to be career ready.
Thank you, Prashasti and Dr. Ritu Gilhotra, for sharing your valuable insights with us today. We look forward to seeing the continued partnership between universities and industry players as they work together to shape the future of education. And thank you for joining us and watching.